All right, hello everybody. Max here. I'm going to give a quick intro to Scratch. So Scratch is a elementary coding program that is useful to introduce people to coding. And it's called a type of coding called block coding. And the idea is we have all these different commands over here. They all do different things. But basically the idea is that all of these different commands can move our sprite or make our sprite do different things. This is our sprite. It's a little cat. Um, so this is kind of the heads-up display for the sprite. We can see its position. It's at 0, 0. It's oriented at 90 degrees, so it's facing forward, and it has a certain size. I can click and drag it around. You see its position changes. I can rotate it. So let's say I want it to point down. It looks down like that. Or I can make it larger like this. All right, so now let me get a little bit into how we can actually do things here. So as a introductory task, let's say I want my sprite to draw something like this, just a boxed square, right? So I want it to automate it so I can have it draw this. So let's see how we can do that. So a good place to start is always in this Events tab. And this is, so for example, if I click this, when spacebar is pressed, the following things will happen. So let's say I want it to move to the right. It's going to move to the right, draw, and then it's going to not draw for a section, so we can get that dotted line like I have in this square here. So I can have it say, okay, when you're on the right, we're also going to need the pen app. That's going to have us draw. So you click down here and then you click pen. Okay? So when I click the right arrow, what do I want it to do? Well, I want my sprite to put its pen down. And then if I go up here to motion, I want it to move. And then I want it to move, let's say, 30 steps, right? After it does that, I want it to do pen up. I want it to pick its pen back up. And then I want it to move 30 steps again. Okay? So now when I click the right arrow on my key over here, you can see it moves and draws a dotted line just like that. Okay? And then a useful thing to have here is this erase all, so you can do that whenever you're ready. All right, so now I have it's able to move to the right. Now I need it to be able to move up, left, and down. So one thing I can do, I can right-click this, and I can hit duplicate, because it's going to look pretty similar, right? So now I can do up arrow, right? But I have to have it orient so it's facing up, because right now, if I hit up, it just goes forward. So I'll erase all again. So what I need, if I go to motion, I can say, which one do I want here? Oh, point in direction. Okay. So 0 degrees is upwards, so I can just have this little thing like this. So now, when I press up, it actually goes up. But now I need to do the same thing for my right arrow key, because my right arrow key just puts it forward. So I can put point in direction, and then 90 degrees is forward. So now if I bring my sprite back down here, and I click right, it moves to the right, and it moves up when I click up. Okay, so now I've added my left arrow and my down arrow. So it says when left arrow is pressed, point in this direction, put your pen down, move this number of steps, put your pen up, and move this number of steps. So if I go right, right, up, up, left, left, down, down. And I've made my dotted line square. And if I go backwards, we kind of will fill in those gaps. So if I go backwards, I go up, up, right, right, down, down, left, left. And now I have a filled in square. Now, what if we want to do this all in once? I want to press one key and this dotted square is made with just one key. Well, there's this useful thing here where you can repeat things, right? And notice the shape of the blocks here. The shape of the blocks kind of tells you what will fit. And so these beginner steps are kind of at the top. So what I can do, I can go to my events, and I can say when spacebar, or no, not that. I can say when spacebar is clicked, what do I want it to do? I want it, well, first, we want it to be pointing in the forward direction. Okay? And now everything that's inside of this little gap here will be repeated, right? So kind of the idea is I'll want to repeat things 4 times, and after each step, I'll turn so I can get all the way around, right? So let's see how that looks. Well, I'm going to have a similar thing that I have right here. Whoops. Except I don't want that point in direction. So it's starting off with some initial direction. It's going to put the pen down, move 30 steps, put the pen up, move 30 steps. And then when it's done with that, I want it to turn 90 degrees, right? So if we look closely what happens here, when spacebar is pressed, you'll start off looking forward, you'll draw the dotted line, and then you'll turn 90 degrees. And then this whole thing is going to repeat. So pen down, move 30 steps, pen up, move 30 steps, repeat. And it's going to do that 4 times, because that's why I put 4 right here. So if I bring my sprite back over here and I erase all, and if I did this correctly when I press spacebar, boom, we did our dotted line square. Now, the one I did it before, it had 2 lines because I was hitting spacebar twice, but I could easily program that in here by doing an extra chunk like this. If I do duplicate, take this part off, this part on. Okay, so now it should be the same square, I think, hopefully. And there it is. Okay, so that's kind of the basic idea. I'm just going to run through kind of a couple other useful functions. So like these will turn from your current direction, turn 15 degrees or whatever you want. You can have it go to some random position, or you can have it go to your mouse pointer. I don't know exactly what that means. You'll have to check it out. You can have it go to a specific location, like right here. You can have it glide, which means you like see its motion instead of it just snapping. If you go into looks, you can have it say hello. So if I do this, if I say hello for 1 second, and I press spacebar, he's going to say hello, he's going to move, he says hello, and he comes back. You can have it change its size. So if I, take that off, and if I change size by 5, or let's do 50 even, each step it's going to get bigger and bigger. So if I press spacebar, it ends up being really big after it's drawn its square. There's some sound things you can do. It'll play a sound. There's all these events. So like, and this is like what starts the program. So if I click the sprite and I do erase all, when I click the sprite, it erases everything on the screen. Control, these are these kind of loops thing. This is called a loop right here. We loop it 4 times. Different types of loops. You can have certain statements. So if this thing is true, this diamond, so like you could put if 1 equals 1, which is true, then this loop will proceed. And this is where you kind of fill in things here. So I could do like if 100 is greater than 50, which it is, then this loop will happen. So that's one thing you can do. You can make variables. So instead of putting in numbers here, I could make a variable, and you can make a game out of it. So it's like you could make something where each time the sprite is in a certain location, a variable goes up by 1. So that could be like a basketball. Each time the basketball is here, the points go up by 1. And you could make a variable be points. And then this is your pen, all the useful stuff for your pen. You can change the color, you can change the size of the marker, and so on. If you ever want to stop your program, like if I hit spacebar right now, let's do 2 seconds. He's kind of stuck and I can't do anything. You just hit this red stop sign up here and it'll stop the program. You can also add more sprites. So I like this guy, Amon, here. So now I have Amon and my sprite 1 on the same screen. And they can kind of act independently. So when I go to sprite 1, I have everything I just wrote. And when I go to Amon, I have a fresh screen. But you could have them do stuff at the same time. Like I can do when spacebar is clicked, move forward 10 steps. Now if I hit spacebar, oh, whoops, wrong button. So when spacebar is pressed, Amon keeps moving, but sprite 1 is stuck in the loop over there, drawing a square. And if you ever lose your sprite, you can just always reset it back like this. Oh, like this. Okay. So that's kind of the basic idea of Scratch. It's pretty easy to play around with. I haven't played it. I haven't used it much at all. I just learned how to use it right now. But yeah, there's a lot you can do with it.